Everybody, welcome to part 15 of building standard elevator and N scale. What we're going to do this time is we're going to build this section right here, which looks pretty easy. I want to point out a few things about it on this picture. I only have two views. This is the only view I have of the whole length of it, but there's also this little thing up here which is kind of funky, and I'll show you. I only have an overhead view of that. So it looks to me like this is also board and batten, but it's probably not as wide because this was built later. I'm just going to use the same board and batten siding. It also looks to me like it definitely does not come out to the garrison, but it looks to me like it might be set back maybe a foot or so from the actual wall. This wall doesn't come straight out, and that's the way it looks from the in view from the street side. You don't really see this as much, so I'm saying this is going to set back just a little bit. At one time, this was the railroad warehouse. I would bet that a track lined up here, but to me, this doesn't look like, it looks like it's just sort of sloping ground down from it now. It's also offset in from the building. So if a track was here, they would have to sort of like curve a little bit, and they'd have to have a big, piece of steel or something that could span the gap between this door and that. So again, this wasn't original to the building. I would bet that the original building had big doors on it like there is on the other side. No windows on this side of the building either. So I'm just going to model this as sort of ground level. Can't really see a foundation on it from this picture, and anyhow, that's how I'm going to model. It does have the rafters sticking out, and as you'll see in the next picture, when looking down, it sort of looks like this has a steel roof, but I can't tell what type of roof this is. Also in the warehouse, notice the overhang on the front, very little, sort of a standard, but on the back it's bigger. And that may be from its date when it was a railroad warehouse, and maybe the track. At one time, this was served coming in this way. The time I'm modeling it came in from the other way. The track did not connect down here because they had those other big steel grain elevators down here. But the sandboard map, one sandboard map shows track coming in this way. And I'll put a picture of that right here so you can see how it was. This is like back in the 1880s, 1890s. I can't remember the date of this map. Here's the 1895 map. So you see the track came in from this way and curved down into the back of the elevator and continued back on and connected back with this track. This is the warehouse right here that I'm modeling. So it had a little stub track, but look at the distance between the track and the warehouse compared to, this is the elevator building, this is the depot here. So it definitely set back. Every sandboard map I've seen, the warehouse is not as wide as the elevator. So that's why I'm modeling it like that. And of course, this doesn't have that little lean-to on it, but I think that was built later. So yeah, that's sort of the challenge. That's the way it used to come in, but they definitely did have a spur that go back and load stuff into that warehouse. So this is the other view. This is the end of the little lean-to, and again, it looks to me like this is a metal roof. Can't tell what this is, but you notice that the roof on the warehouse not only doesn't have a big overhang, it also is one continuous roof over this little piece here, which there's an opening right here, like a walkway. So this building did not go the entire width and butt up against the wall here of the original boiler house. There's an opening here, so I made that about a 1/2 inch. I'm just visually estimating it, but I have to build this little thing here, and it's really weird. Don't know, because when you look back at the other picture, it's like there's a gap. I'll see if I can go back to the other picture real quick. So here's the other picture, and if you look, like right here, because this has a slanted roof, but this comes straight out I don't know if it's an extension of the second floor from there. It's really sort of weird how that is. So I'll just do my best to mock this up. You can tell that the roof just comes straight on down. It's just the same roof. Whether this was original to the building, I don't know. If they did, they cut the roof off. If the original building was that wide, but it doesn't look like it. So anyhow, it's going to be sort of funky looking. I'm just going to have to do the best, best guess to model this, and you have to tell me what you think, if I did a good job or not. Here's where I'm at on the easy part. I say easy part with quotation marks, because watched the video tonight. I think his last name is Mastrossi. I probably butchered it, but enough people butcher my last name. So I apologize if I did. And he talked about the big lie on his railroad, where it looks like everything always goes right because we edit out all the mistakes. I try to share when I screw up, when I'm switching, or if the locomotive stalls or something. But I'm trying to encourage you to scratch build. See this box? That's my scrap box. A lot of that scrap box is made because I screwed up. So this piece right here, originally when I made it, I decided I made this door too small. I used a baggage door again. It's just not right visually, so I did the same way as I did on the back. Also made it not wide enough. It was glued on there, and I was trying to figure out how to make this little section come out, and I thought, well, this thing is nowhere near as far out as the other building, and it's not, in real life, it's not as far out either, but it wasn't even close. So I popped it off there and made new end walls. I also made the slope too steep. So it's trial and error a lot of times. Don't be afraid to mess up. Just styrene is pretty cheap, and as long as you don't go crazy with the glue, you can usually pop it back off. So what I'm going to do here, this is actually glued together here because I needed to have it stable, because that little part that comes out here, it spans this gap. I needed to have this thing there in place to see where it was at. So it's just tack glued, right here in the one spot. I can pop it loose pretty easy. So I'm going to cut a piece of styrene for a roof, because remember, the roof comes out here, overhangs. And I'm going to try to play with that and use the roof and this to sort of reverse engineer how big that little, I don't know what you call that building is, how big it is, and so I can shoehorn it in there. So let me explain my thinking here. So first of all, I measured from here. I figured out how much overhang I needed to have. So this is 4 9/16. So I cut a piece of plain styrene 4 9/16 long. And then I put it up here, just set it up there. And I thought, okay, how much overhang do I want? Remember, this side has more of an overhang. So I measured that, and I drew a line. So now I'm going to try to figure out how much I need to, this distance, which is going to stay on it, and cut this out. So I'm just going to be taking some measurements of that to try to make this in one piece. So I think we'll end it here. I've got the roof just glued in one spot right here. It's just sort of sitting on there. What I have to do is, I guess I'm just going to have to build like a box. Probably use the clapboard, or board and batten again. Really can't tell what this thing is made out of, but I'm just going to assume it's board and batten. And then I will have to make it match the roof there, and then I'll glue it to the side wall of the building. And after I get that done, I'll take this little piece of roof off, and I'll disconnect. I'll break apart the glue spot there, and I think I can go ahead and paint the exterior of the building, and I can put the windows in it, and then I can worry about the roof after that. Anyhow, so it's taking shape. I mean, I can see a few little things here wrong here and there, more with the angles and things like that, because I'm just guesstimating. So it's, I can't say that any errors that I made in, cutting it out. But I think that this roof maybe was too sloped here. But again, it's just guessing, and I think it's capturing the flavor of it. So hope everybody enjoyed it. Again, questions, comments are always welcome. Everybody stay safe.